all this stuff. All right, welcome to the Empower Network. It's a very special Saturday session going to be happening for those of you that are awake, and those of you that are not awake, you're going to see this on the recording. So Cindy, I just saw Cindy Stiver. Hi, Cindy. Brandy Taylor will be joining us. Today it's going to be Apryl Mottley, and it's going to be Mel Kaario. And they're going to be talking about something called the Prosperous Coach, which is a book that Mel used, the principles in that book that Mel used to double in his case, it was his coaching income in 3 months. Mm-hmm. If you're someone who has any type of business, doesn't matter what kind of business it is, and you want to kind of find out how Mel was able to do that, Apryl also herself has gone through the book now, and they'll be discussing, and I might throw in some questions too, but we're going to be bringing Brandy Taylor on, and Brandy's going to be kind of like the guinea pig she's offered, which is very wonderful of her. And Mel and Apryl are going to use these principles in this book to show Brandy and give her ideas of how she could creatively do the very same thing Mel did. So this is going to be one you don't want to miss. So I'm going to bring Brandy on, and then I'll let you guys say a minute or two if that works for you guys, and then you have a story, Mel?
Cool. Yeah. As Amos was saying, I was given this book called The Prosperous Coach about 5 years ago, and I guess close to 5 years ago, and it changed everything for me. And just very quickly, most people who are coaches, maybe even consultants, a lot of us, we may be amazing at delivering our product, our service. We may be even fairly adept at actually selling once we're talking to someone, but the marketing part for a lot of us is very challenging. It is for me. I was given this book about 5 years ago. I read it. It just rocked. Quite frankly, it just rocked me. And it's called The Prosperous Coach, as Amos has said. And the premise is essentially, it's very difficult for a lot of us as coaches to actually sell coaching. A lot of people really can't grasp it. Like, what, I'm going to pay you, we're going to talk, what's going to go on, And this book, written by Rich Litvin and Steve Chandler, talks about people need to experience what you do, give the very, very best of yourself away. And at the end of that, and we can't come across as needy, because, if we need them more than they need us, we should probably go out and get a job. That's the truth of it, right? And then because they cannot feel like we are feeling needy. But the premise of it is just to serve in the most powerful way you know how, give the best of yourself away, so at the end of it, they want more. I'm going to read a little story. This is from, go ahead, Amos.
We're going to let Apryl share, and then we're going to bring Brandy in before you read that story, if that's okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Apryl, thank you, Mel, for sharing a bit of that backstory. I love it.
Yeah, so I found with this book that it was in complete alignment with what I pretty much already do, because when you're really reaching people from your heart, this just kind of flows. And I feel like the book actually gives you permission to do just that, because I feel like people who are naturally life coaches and really like to help and assist people, they want to reach out with their heart and really connect and not do sales or be pitchy or manipulative. And so really, and I've had a ton of business coaching. I've had a ton of coaching where they direct you to do certain tactics that don't feel right. As a life coach, you definitely want to present yourself as the thing that you are teaching and coaching. You do not want to go against your values. You do not want to show up as someone who doesn't stand by what you're trying to even guide someone to be. And so this book is phenomenal at just saying, hey, it is okay to really connect with someone and make them feel like their lives can be better. As Mel's saying, give them a broader perspective. Their dreams and all the things that they truly want and need in their life can actually happen with a little bit of guidance until that they don't need you anymore. And and that's what I have found over and over again. Every single situation I have personally had, what has worked is someone feeling that, hey, this girl can actually help me. And that's how I've gotten clients, right? So it really does work. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you, April. With that, we're going to bring Brandy in now. We're going to welcome her, and then Mel has got a story to kick this off. So Brandy will be in. She'll just take probably 30 seconds to get connected. Brandy, if you can hear us, welcome to the show or the call. Awesome. Okay. Camera's just getting.
Hi.
Brandy, hi. Welcome.
Hey. Hi.
Hello, Brandy. Nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you too.
Brandy, I wanted to say, first of all, thank you for volunteering. When I put the call out there, some people indicated they were interested, but the timing wasn't right. And I think some other people were a little bit intimidated because, hey, what's going to happen? But Mel and April and myself, if I can, we're going to basically go into this with you and just give you some creative, powerful thoughts that you can take forward so that you can, if you want, Mel, double your coaching income or your business income in 3 months. She's got the notes. Okay, so
Yeah.
we've already.
No, I don't have notes. I'm going to take notes.
Oh, you're going to take notes. Okay.
Yeah.
Brandy, can you give the viewers, listeners, just 2 minutes on who are you? What are you about? What do you do? And what's your favorite color?
That's so funny. My favorite color is blue. It seems it always comes up for me. So blue is definitely my favorite color. I am Brandy Taylor, founder of Fear It Goes. I work with executives, lawyers, doctors, dentists who are struggling with addiction, who have already been through rehab and don't want to go ever again. They want to eradicate the relapse cycle for themselves and actually move on and save their marriages, save their relationship with their kids, save their careers, and really ultimately in the end, save their lives, right? But I am a big proponent of what can be healed through self-love, through reaching those levels of understanding of self and connecting all those parts that have been disconnected. Because I really do believe that that's the thing that we're missing the most in living fulfilled, meaningful, amazingly large, awesome lives that really excite us. And addiction specifically, there's such a humongous disconnection, and there's so much shame and guilt and self-loathing and judgment and all these things that need to be taught and let go of for them to actually be able to let go of the addictions. And I just want to help them. That's me.
Thanks, Brandy. And Mel and April, just for context, Brandy took her bossy assessment. Brandy, you're an IO or an OI?
Oh, that's funny. I'm an OI, but I think I'm more an IO.
Okay. So
like when I look at that, I think I'm a more IO because I would do everything for free, honestly. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Yeah, that's a big problem because I'm very much a believer of win-win-win. Everybody wins. Everybody gets things through this. And I have done so much free work because I can't help it. I just so badly want to see people heal. So, yeah. Ooh.
May I ask a question, Amos?
Yes, please.
Sir, thanks so much for all that, Brandy. You just, gosh, I think we should have lunch. You just sound like a lovely person. So I understand you love to just give the best of yourself away because you believe, and rightfully so, people deserve a loving, wonderful, fulfilling, meaningful life.
They do deserve that.
Yeah.
But I do too.
Yeah.
I do
well, that's
too.
right.
Yes.
So this was going to be my question. What challenges has that big, beautiful heart of yours presented you?
Oh, I'm telling you right now, like this is a hard admittal for me, knowing that I have put myself last, and that's not okay. And I know this.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I often look at the me to the we to the all, right? So it's like the win at all costs, the win, sometimes other people will win, maybe it'll be a win-win, or the win-win-win where everything is benefiting. And I have often been in the second part, the we. So where I am sometimes winning and sometimes giving that win to the other person because I just feel they need it more than me. And that's a trained response from childhood I fully recognize that now. I've done a lot of work, and as I've processed and moved through these levels of awareness, it's become more relevant and more clear to me where my pitfalls have been and why, which is great. So now I just feel that there's a few things I must be missing, like just a few tools or something that I must be missing that links the last pieces, because now I get it, right? Before I just never understood why I did these things. I just wanted to, and it's great that I want to, but there has to be an understanding within myself too, that I'm not meant to lose so that others can prosper. That's not okay.
Yeah.
So, yep, that's why I'm here today, to be really honest.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be here today, but this is it.
And that is the conundrum of the bossy innovator. I just want to change the world, give it away.
Yep.
Did you watch the Bossy TED Talk?
I did. Yep.
Yeah. So you saw that Joe Abraham, the presenter, said that innovators typically want to change the world, but they're the business end.
April.
The business end is a challenge for them, right?
Yeah, and I do understand like the partnering with someone who's of the same, or sorry, not of the same, and partnering with a B. I love that idea, but they need to be on the same wavelength with what you're trying to accomplish, not just a business aspect. And that's what I've learned through different partnerships I've had in the past. I've had partnerships with people who don't understand what I'm doing, don't support what I'm doing. They just want to profit. And I can't align with that. Right? So that's a misalignment with me, which will never work.
So Brandy, there actually is a way for you to use the way that your personality works. So if you think in terms of the fact that, and I'm sure that you've seen this consistently throughout your work, because I know I definitely have. So when someone is paying you, whatever it is that the agreed amount is, right?
Yeah.
When someone's actually paying you, they're investing, they're committing, they know that they can't drop the ball because they're paying for it. So they value their growth, right? And then you definitely see faster growth, but also deeper growth, because there's a subconscious thing going on with people where they're like, well, I'm paying for this, I want every dollar out of this that I can get, right? So they're not just committed and showing up, but they are also then digging deeper and deeper because they want to get everything out of that week, that month, that depending on how long you coach, that year, right?
Yep.
So if you think in terms of where you're coming from with your heart, what you really want from your heart is that person to excel and be the richest, best person that they can be. You don't want them to half-ass it because, well, it's for free. I could just do this later or on my own time or whatever the mentality is, right? So when they're paying for it, they actually grow faster and better. And that's ultimately what you want. So in reality, you can literally use the internal parts of your being that are the strongest and most powerful and use that to your advantage when you're thinking about fees and charging and your time is valuable, but it's also that their time is valuable. So
absolutely
you want them to care about every moment of the way.
It's interesting that you say that, because I really, like, from a logical standpoint and a mental standpoint, I totally get that. And I agree. There's a buy-in that when you give things away for free or for very little, people don't, it's like the gym mentality. Oh, I pay $50 a month. Who cares? I could just like skip it. Right. And there's much, much more work that's done with more money. However, this is where I got stuck, where there's those people who are really in positions, probably because I came from a life like in early, like from like childhood experiences and early like teen experiences, we were in and out of poverty. So I get the mentality of not having, but desperately wanting, and would be 1,000% in because I just want the opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
this is where I got stuck.
And
right?
Often,
this is where I got stuck.
Yeah. Often what you'll find is, number one, it's your business. You can you can negotiate as you see fit. If you want to do sliding scale, that's your business, whatever pays your bills, right? And
There's
covers
certain
your
things
time.
I
It's up
don't
to
want
you.
to slide scale actually at all. There's certain things I want to
Yeah.
up prices, and they're
Right.
already pretty high. But I think that, like, okay, so when it comes to addictions, I see the cost of addictions like humongous, right? Half your net worth is a lot. The
Yeah.
loss of your kids is a lot. The loss
Yeah.
of your life, because I know people who have literally drank themselves to death. That's a lot. So I'm thinking, like, as I looked at like what rehab centers charge and stuff like that, I'm thinking my price is too low, and I already think
Yeah.
it's relatively high.
Okay.
But go ahead.
So this is, I love that you're talking about this, because this is what I've been thinking about with you. I went through your page. I don't know, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yes, yes, I do.
Okay. So what people see you primarily on Facebook, is that correct?
Sure. Right
Okay.
now, yes, because my website's down.
Okay, so what I have noticed, what you just said is a gold mine in and of itself. And I heard that your passion is that you really love pulling people out of their addictions and the mess that they're in, and pulling themselves back on track and in even better, higher places they've ever been before, right? That's your passion. When you go on your Facebook page, you don't see that at all. I see intermittent things that have nothing to do with your business. I see random things that aren't directed towards that, like passion and goal that you want people to hear. You're saying things that most people don't hear in the average everyday life, but if they come across your page and you're saying this on a regular basis, right? Almost every post should be something around, whether it's a video or text or whatever it is. It should be encircling, encompassing this message that you're trying to put out. And I mean, number one, you're impacting people just watching that, right? You're like, oh, hey, like that person didn't think about that. And then they will, right? They start following you. They start listening to what you're saying. They get excited about what you're saying. They definitely want to hire you, because after they've seen your post for so many weeks or months, they're going to hire you, right?
Yeah.
But when I go through your page, I have no idea what you're talking about. None. I have no idea what your angle is. I don't know who you're selling to. I don't know who you're trying to impact at all. And I know you. I've listened to you. I understand where you're coming from, and I don't see it.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead.
We're
I was
going to
just gonna say,
pause. Hang on. We're going to pause. There's the agenda. Thank you, April, for what you just chimed in. Brandy, it's good that you've given this all this information, because what you're doing is you're diagnosing the problem, right? So first of all, we're saying the problem. April just highlighted something that's very important. Now we're going to shift to Mel. Mel's going to read a story, and then we're going to move on with what we're doing. This is great. This is so great.
I'm so glad this is recorded, because I was going to take notes, but I really don't want to interrupt this flow.
Yeah.
If you're not speaking, please put yourself on mute. That's one request. Thanks.
Yeah. So I'm going to read a story. This is from Rich Litvin, the author of Prosperous Coach. This is a story from his blog, which I have shared with, over the last year, a half dozen coaches. And it is, in my view, a brilliant illustration of what he talks about in providing people with a powerful experience. And so here, I will read this. There's nothing more valuable than a powerful experience. How powerful an experience do you create for your clients and potential clients? Now, this story is actually from the blog from Jay Abraham. Some of you may know him. He's a bit of an entrepreneurial guru called Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got. And so here's the story. A farmer wanted to buy a pony for his little daughter. There were two for sale in his town. Both ponies were equal in all aspects. The first man told the farmer he wanted $500 for his pony. Take it or leave it. The second man was selling his pony for $750. But the second man told the farmer he wanted the farmer's daughter to try out the pony for a month before the farmer had to make any purchasing decision. He offered to bring the pony out to the farmer's home, along with a month's worth of hay to feed the pony. He said he'd send out his own stablemen once a week to show the little girl how to groom and care for the pony. He told the farmer the pony was kind and gentle, but to have his daughter ride the pony each day to make certain they got along together. Finally, he said at the end of the 30 days, he'd drive over to the farmer's and either take back the pony and clean up the stall or ask right then to be paid $750. Which pony do you suppose the farmer decided to purchase for his daughter?
It's such a good analogy. Yeah. Obviously the 750, it just is so smart.
It's a beautiful story. Clients never make a decision to hire a coach based on price, ever. It just looks that way to coaches who are not serving their clients powerfully enough.
Right.
What's one thing you could do to serve your clients more powerfully before they ever pay you $1? And that's the question. So I would ask you, Brandy, how do you provide yourself with the opportunities to communicate with potential clients, and what happens in those moments?
Well, it's interesting because the clients that some of the clients that I've served or I'm serving right now don't fit into addictions, weirdly enough, but self-love 100%, right? So coming from very different experiences, very different backgrounds, like all of them that I'm serving right now, but it's all based in self-love, and they all have different issues that they're coming with. But really, ultimately, in the beginning, I work on them connecting with themselves, right? So the first steps are how to recognize yourself even. And that's one of the first things I do. And it's funny because I'm finding I'm starting to give that out. Like I give that out as an exercise. And then we talk about that exercise and why it's important and what it's there to do. And then they're like, oh my God, because so often people think things are too simple for them. It's too simple, so therefore it won't work. But they don't understand the power behind something. And then when they do, they're like, oh my God, that's like amazing. So I don't know, that's one of the things. But it's funny, as Apryl was saying in the last discussion around, I don't see that on your Facebook, I recently brought in a group and we started doing videos, and we're doing videos very directed at addiction specific. And I see now, and I totally understand what she was saying. Like I have put up lots of different posts around like knowing yourself, but it's not clear at all what that means. So your question very much ties into this. Very much ties into this is how am I going to best be clear on the message and giving them something that leads them down the path, right? So often I think sometimes just that first step of awareness is extremely helpful because you can't change without the awareness. So I just did a video, it's not up yet, but I talked about whether you think that you're even deserving. And it's hilarious that you said that about deserving, because it's so true about us in disconnection is we don't think we deserve it. We don't think we're worth it. And when you're in an addiction, that's even worse, right? I don't even deserve this. Like I look at all the things I've done that have like hurt my family or hurt other people or hurt myself, or all the times I've said I was going to do something or I was going to quit or I was going to this or I was going to that, and I never did it. And then it's like this it's self-eroding, right? So even just bringing that awareness, I think, is super helpful from a place of non-judgment, because they're just judging themselves all over. And I think that's such a gift we can give, is just being open without judgment and holding that space with love for them. So now I ask, how can I do this in the best way? that I think really the way I do this right now, or what I'm creating right now, is this through videos, is this through that space, so that they know that this is a healthy, welcome, non-judgmental space, because that's the hardest part for anyone in states of lack, is they're judging themselves to death. And to have someone that actually will hold the space without the judgment is huge.
We're gonna
because they've done enough for 10.
Oh, sorry, Brandy. We're
No,
gonna
it's good.
I love what you're saying. I gotta go to some comments, then we're gonna go to April for her thoughts, and then we're gonna go to Mel talking about how he used practically the principles in this book to double his income in 3 months, and we're gonna
Awesome.
apply it to you. So we're gonna do comments, and we're gonna go to April, and we're gonna go back to Mel. Okay, Brandy? So first of all, just love how you're just showing up. Love how you're showing up, Brandy. You're just vulnerable. It's just fucking brilliant.
It's hard, to be honest. It's
Edward
hard
says,
to do this.
it is, but you're being brave, and brave people get rewarded.
Yeah.
Edward says, hello, good people, shine bright. Alexander said, good one, April. Optimized information projections. Ooh, love that.
Yeah.
Melissa Billman said, I love and acknowledge your vulnerability and share, Brandy. And she says, come as you are, and I see you as you are. That's just brilliant, Melissa. So April, can we go to you for your thoughts on what you're hearing so far?
Yeah, well, Brandy touched on it a little bit earlier, where she actually has clarity in how to like up the income and attract the right people. When you said that people who have addictions are putting so much money and time into their addiction, right? So in this way, they can totally afford to put time and money into getting out of the addiction. Right. So this is, in a lot of ways, this is the angle that you would use, not just like, you know, and in coaching, we call it pain points. I think it's sort of overused, but it really is the case. So in every video and post that you do, you definitely want to grab the people who are in pain, you know, where their active pain is. But really, when it comes to negotiations of worth and value, and you can even talk about this in your videos and in your posts, that how much money are you throwing away on your addiction that's destroying your life, your family, your future, people that you love, people that meet you? How much time are you putting into that, going in circles every day? Whatever the addiction is, this is always the case. These are the things that you would talk about on a regular basis. You would just fold them into the conversation, and people will hear that and they will be like, what am I doing? Why don't I put my money and time here so this can stop? And just like you said, these people are going to rehab that can be up to $10,000 a month.
Oh no,
right?
up to 80.
80.
Up
Okay,
to 80,000. It's crazy.
So play with that, because think in terms of this. Like, then that means that if you know for sure that you can help someone in X number of months or a year, that if you're comparing to that kind of pricing, they would be willing or able to invest in you. You could have a huge business with lots of revenue.
It's funny, I hadn't actually thought about talking about the price points. So this is extremely insightful. Thank you. Because I talk more about the pain points, the things that they're feeling, but I hadn't thought of like the practical, like outside of,
because
you're really destroying your relationships. Right?
They're
like,
always thinking about it. Yeah, they're always thinking about, in the back of every person who has an addiction's mind, they know they have you know, like a heaviness and a weight and a guilt in the back of their head.
Shame and guilt. Oh yeah, huge.
So they're always thinking, oh gosh, I'm wasting all this money, I'm spending all this money, and it won't stop, and I can't stop, and whatever.
I keep fighting with my spouse. I keep fighting with my kids.
Yep.
Yeah, or I have to drink to not do that.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, good sharing, good idea, April. So Brandy,
I'm definitely including that in a video. I'm going to do it right away.
Yes.
Let's go to Mel practically now. Mel, because Brandy, what you're talking about, Mel walked through this. Mel was charging X. He'll give you details, and now he's charging X. But he had a psychological barrier, because he's like, well, Mel will say it. Who am I to charge X? So Mel, please just...
Yeah, sure.
I talk myself down. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna mute. Sorry, Mel. I'm just gonna mute everybody. I'm gonna mute you guys. Don't be offended, but to keep the channel clean, if you guys don't mute yourself, I'm gonna have to mute you guys. While Mel's talking here now. Thanks.
Yeah. Nice presenter jargon, Amos. Keep the channel clean. That's beautiful. Okay. Sure. You know, Brandy, I mentioned I was given this book about 5 years ago, and I was having coffee with a coach. He asked me what I charged. He said, "Do you do good work?" I said, "Yeah, I do. I do amazing work." He said to me, "Why don't you charge 5 times that?" And I didn't have an answer. Like my mouth just kind of hung open. And I went home and it hung open against, I sat on the couch, I think many evenings, and it was still hanging open. I didn't have an answer. And then I started asking the pertinent question. Yeah, like, why the heck not? Why am I not doing that? Now I didn't do it 5 times, but it's much closer to that, you know. And you know, if in fact, and I will, and I'm sure many other people who have read this book, Brandy, you must read this book, okay, or listen to it. I like reading the book because I can mark it up and stuff. I mean, I just like that. You must read it. So he lays out a process, and his process, he will say, Rich Litvin, the author, he would say, coaches burn so much mental, emotional energy, writing blogs, doing videos, doing Facebook posts. And he said, there is no business without talking to people. He said, if you love to do it, like, I mean, if it energizes you, by all means, go and do it. I mean, I like doing some too, because quite frankly, I do like the little dopamine rush when people make comments and things, and it has got me clients, but I know it's ultimately not the best use of my time. He lays out this process, and it is connect, invite, create, propose. And he would say your clients, they're at the weddings you go to, they're at the Chamber of Commerce meetings, there are people that you bump into at the supermarket. He said they are out there. And he said fill your day with conversations. That is how you get clients, whether it's in person or on Zoom. Connect with people very relaxingly. Who are you? What do you do? Be very relaxed about it. And now you, specifically helping people with addictions, you could, you know, and I guess there's all sorts of addictions, right? But, you know, you need to find a way, how can I provide myself the opportunity to connect with these people? Maybe you do get opportunities for conversations with your target market, Randy. We can talk about that in a minute. But I realized that for me, and what I do in serving entrepreneurs and professionals, I have a big network of them. Why am I not talking with them? I'm going out for coffee with them, getting on a phone call or a Zoom call, just catching up with them. And then he says, then you invite them. If it seems right, you might say something like, Brandy, have you ever had a coaching conversation like, and they might say, well, no. I said, well, would you like to experience one? No charge whatsoever. I'd love to give you a couple of hours of my time, just so that you can experience what a powerful coaching conversation can be like giving somebody the pony and giving them the hay and everything, right? It's that they're going to now experience what it is that you do and the power of it. And at the end of that, he said, some people will be blown away and in awe of what you've just done with them and for them. And some people maybe not, but at the people, you know, at the end of that, I'm sure you're probably incredibly intuitive, Brandy. You know if something in that individual is being moved, right? Something is shifting for this person. And Rich Litvin, you know, he's got different ways of doing it. He might say, which is what I started to do, just like you're a waiter in a restaurant asking if they would like dessert or a cup of coffee at the end. We just need to get our mind around the fact we're serving them. You would say, would you like some more of this? What would it be like if we met regularly? Would you like some more? Some will say, oh, no, I think that's fine. I'm okay today. Some will say, oh, yes, please. I'd like some more of this. And at that point, you know, you can propose, you know, I'm okay. Well, wonderful. Let's slow down, and you don't come across as needy. You say, slow down. Let's just talk about this a little bit further. Because you don't want to be feeling, giving this energy like, oh yeah, I got a client. you just come across as just very relaxed, serving them, not wanting anything from them, just serving and giving as powerfully as you know how. And at the end of that, which is what I started to do, and it wasn't easy in the beginning. It wasn't easy because I'm thinking, gosh, I'm giving the very best of myself away. They should be paying for me this for doggone it. But it felt so good to give the best of myself away. And at the end of that, some would say, Mel, I want some more of this. This is amazing. And at that point, you would say, okay, this is what it's going to look like, and we're going to meet whatever however you structure things, Brandy. And this is the investment. And you propose like that. But they need to feel it in their soul of what the powerful experience that Brandy's going to provide them. That's what I started doing with people, so that my day is filled with the effort of trying to have conversations with people on the phone, out for coffee, on Zoom. That's what it's all about. You want to invite people into a conversation and just serve powerfully and with no strings attached. And if you serve them powerfully enough, like this farmer with the pony, some will want you, some won't, and that's okay. But those that do, charge what you're worth.
Mel, we're going to go to a comment because Melissa is echoing what you're saying, Mel. And Brandy, Melissa, just so you know, is a BO on the Bossy.
Yeah.
Alex Kasem was watching. BOs are pretty much the optimal person to sell, and they're almost in business unstoppable in business. So Melissa says, most important thing in sales, to be able to connect to the person and sometimes the target on Facebook and other platforms shows up through your vulnerability in being who you are, whoever you are, not always a targeted message. So yeah, you can't always target it, but you can always show up vulnerably. I have a feeling Apryl wants to say something.
Yeah. So earlier, Brandy, I felt like you actually were your own advocate, right? Like you're like, I love this and it feels amazing. And in my opinion, it also sounds like that you're the best person for the job. Do you feel that way? Yeah. So in my personal experience, just to share, that when there's a problem or a situation or someone struggling, I always know that I want to be the one that's going to help because I trust myself, right? And if you have any element of, well, I know that I'm the best person for that, or I trust myself to do the best in that situation, I wouldn't want somebody else to handle this, then you definitely can believe in yourself. And as Melissa's talking about, where, you show up and you be yourself because who else is going to? And it really, this sounds like cliche stuff. I get it, but it isn't. In real life and in play, people just eat that stuff up because they definitely don't want the next, salesman right. They don't want to feel like they're being manipulated, and you have no element of manipulation at all. That is a gift because people who have addictions can't find that in the medical industry in any way, shape, or form, let alone in the average coach. So I would just be yourself as strong as you can and own it that you're the best person for that job, that you trust yourself in that position to help that person. For sure.
I have 4 questions. We're going to rapid fire not rapid fire, but answer. So Brandy actually has takeaways that she can then choose to chew on and whatever you want to do. But I want to give you a chance to respond, Brandy. And thank you everyone for taking the time to let others talk. I know it's hard when we get excited, but Brandy, do you have anything you want to share before we go into these 4 questions? No? Okay. Mel, did you have anything else to? No? Okay.
No.
So we're going to answer and we're going to come up with creative ideas. So Brandy needs to find her target person. So what are some ways she could find her target? I'm going to write these down, and Brandy, please write them down too. But
actually, Amos, I do have a question for Brandy.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
Brandy, unmute yourself, please, Brandy.
I can do it here too.
Okay. I got it.
All right. I think this is the first question that needs to be asked. I think, Brandy, how will you know when you've got what you want? because, for all intents and purposes, you're an entrepreneur. You're an
Right.
entrepreneur, right? And there's this entrepreneurial mantra amongst most. It's like go, 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 bigger, 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 more, more, more. and we ask ourselves, well, what the heck for? Like, what point do I realize you can go to bed at night and think, all right, I have arrived, I have what I want. Like for me, I know I like, one of the powerful things this process has done for me, quite frankly, I work less and I make more.
Yep.
And what is most important to me in my life is adventure, which means
Me
traveling,
too.
right? Traveling the world's time in my kayak with my fishing rod, eating in funky restaurants and places around the world where only locals go. That stuff lights me up. And if I filled my life with work, which some people love because it's what they really value, I love what I do. But if it starts, it's like the law of diminishing return. I start making more, committing more time. The way I like to coach is one-on-one. I like one-on-one. And if I'm committing more time to that, it starts to encroach on what I love about my life. So I'm asking you, how will you know when you've got what you want? If you envisioned, like, I'm just like hitting home runs every day, life is great, business is good. What do you want in the end?
Okay.
How will you know?
Well, as a business, I kind of run a hybrid. So right now I'm doing more one-on-ones, but I don't want just one-on-ones. And I think that there is such massive power in support groups, especially in this environment. So have the space to do one-on-one work with certain things, but then also have this incredible community, this tribe that is all on the same page, moving in the same direction, and just kind of supporting and loving each other through their process. So that is kind of how I see from a business aspect, and how much I want to work. It's funny because I've thought often about this. Like, I love to hike, I love to travel. I like, these things are important to me, and my kids are the sun and moon to me. So those things have to have time for me. And weirdly enough, I love gardening. I love having my hands in dirt.
Great, wonderful.
So I have to have time for that. That's why I think for me, the group is a big part of what keeps that viable. Because if it was all one-on-ones, I wouldn't have time.
Unless you were charging much more.
Unless I was charging much more, which, and I have to admit, when I'm working, like, I am in my element. I'm so on fire. I love what I do.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Like, it feels amazing. So I never feel like I'm working.
Okay. So I just encourage, we can brainstorm and, give some thoughts and things, but I would just encourage you, Brandy. I know, I'm not telling you what to do, but sit down sometime in your sweatpants or your pajamas with a glass of tea or wine or whatever you like to enjoy, chill out and write it down in a journal or something. This is what my life looks like, my week, my days, what my bank account looks like when I feel just centered and life is beautiful. To write it down and then start to build towards that.
I actually have done that. It's because it's one of the things I teach clients.
Yeah.
And I've started taking my own advice.
Yeah, I hear you. I get it. I know that too. Yeah. Okay.
But I wrote it down, and it's funny because, like, every day I meditate. It's like, it's an essential part of what I do every single day. I don't feel right if I don't do it. So that's a part of, like, what I do every day. And I have my days written down, but not quite to that level. And I like that idea too. Like, I've got the big picture, and then I've got some, like, daily stuff, but I don't kind of have the in between. So I think maybe I'll draw that out.
Okay. And just one little thing, don't share. It's a personal thing. How much income would make me feel like I am just thriving? You don't have to share that, but just keep that in your head, because that's where you want to go, right? Yeah.
Thanks, Mel, for that. So let's move on then as we close out here. So let's answer these 4 questions for Brandy, or help her to answer her questions that we're going to.
Thank you.
So the first is, so Brandy needs to find her people. So anyone watching this, we all know we have to find our person. So Melissa just chimed in here and said, your ideal avatar or target could be leaders of groups with people who have addictions as well, leading to possible partnerships. So let's keep that in mind as we answer these things. But Brandy, you have to find your person somehow, and your people, not people that are going to put their hand up and approach you unless you are waving a certain type of flag with a certain type of message, delivering it in a certain type of way that's going to make them feel comfortable and safe, like you know what you're doing. So to what April said earlier, and I want to know your guys' thoughts on this, but number one, how do you find your people? I think social media posts, especially with your vulnerability, the way you show up, talking to their pain points. I'm going to turn over to Mel and April now, but talking to are you an executive who's struggling with addiction? And then list possible addictions. Are you tired of spending $10,000 or $80,000 a month? Is it affecting your relationships and your business, and you don't know what to do because there's no safe space, and they're trying to cram you into different types of psychotherapy, whatever, like things. People will not listen to the rest until you've identified, because people care about themselves. So you have to nail their pain point number one, not hi, I'm Brandy number one. That's irrelevant. It's hi, do you struggle with, or pain point to capture their attention. Then you get them into your silo. And then eventually my name is, this is what I've done. This is how I've had success. Anyway, I just want to throw that at April and Mel. How do you guys think about her finding her ideal client?
Yeah, Amos is saying exactly where I was at with this, is that in some of the first lines, whether it's verbal or writing, you definitely want to be grabbing people. How much money and time are you putting into your addiction? Ouch. I mean, that to the average person who doesn't have addiction, that means absolutely nothing. You're literally grabbing someone who has an addiction, like, oh crap, because that's the thing they're always struggling with, right? You know, so I mean, someone who has an addiction, to some degree, the pain is just part of the process of their addiction. But when it comes to money, right?
Because that's what makes the world go round.
Yeah. And so the money and the time, and that's literally the first things that you can throw out. How much money and time are you putting into your addiction? How much money and time are you've been going in circles trying to fix the addiction?
Yeah.
I can make that stop in short order. So
isn't that beautiful? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so let's go to the set. So Mel, do you agree? We just want to throw ideas out for Brandy. What do you think because how is she going to go and meet people who have addictions? Would social media be the best initial or one of the best? What do you think?
Brandy, do you live in Calgary? Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And so your target is executives, professionals who have addiction. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And which of course, I think probably social media is the thing to do, because unless there, who's to know if you went to a business meeting, which
you
people
would
walking
not
around
know.
here, you're not going to know.
You would not know.
No, you're not. I mean, when I did, I'd go to a chamber meeting or something, or a wedding, and I'd find out someone's a professional and I could talk to them. It's
no one's
different
just
for
going to
you.
say, and by the way,
that's right.
I'm a high functioning, or I'm a functioning alcoholic, or I'm a functioning perpetuous user, or I'm a functioning.
That's right. So I think April, Amos are right. It probably is through social media, right?
Yeah.
And
I started posting on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn definitely will target some for sure, because I am looking for executives, and a lot of executives sit on LinkedIn and are on there regularly. So I think that's definitely one place to go. And then the rest is going, like, I don't know, I think we're out on 5 different platforms with whatever stuff is going out right now.
Are you bold enough to do videos, Brandy, or is that too scary for you?
Oh, I've been doing videos for like the last little while, and they're just in the midst of edits.
Because videos trump people that are just writing posts. Videos trump that all day long. So
I'm noticing that too.
The algorithm goes lives is king of kings, Lord of lords.
Okay.
Then it's videos. Then it's pictures with writing. And way at the bottom is writing. way at the bottom. So
Right.
if you want to inspire and not just captivate people, but make sure they know exactly who you are, you need to show up on camera talking imperfectly, vulnerably, so they already know who you are before they ever reach out to you. One of the biggest
Right.
mistakes in marketing is people think they need to be polished because they live in this Instagram fake filter garbage world. But then you meet the person and they don't look anything like that. So if you want to do business, you want your ideal client, as April or Mel is saying, when they watch your videos, they know exactly who you are. You behave, you talk the same way as when you talk to them. You're the same vulnerability. And if you swear, then swear in your social media. If you don't swear in your social. So that there's a congruency. It's like the antithesis of the realtor that uses the 15-year-old picture on the bus benches. You meet the 15 years older. It's like, well, where's the congruency here?
It's interesting that you say that too, because in the last video I shot no makeup. I was just like, hair's like this and it's not really done. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm just, because I need to talk about this and I'm in the moment. And I actually I talked to them about, I think this is what you need to hear today. I think you need to hear that you're deserving. That was the point of that video. But I really like the idea of actually calling out, I think the combination of all these things is going to play out really, really nicely together. But we're talking about different pain points or different reasons why you get stuck in the cycle, so that there's a little bit more understanding. And then different pain points. And then I can start calling them out. Are you an executive who's discovering your life is falling apart? Or you see it right before you, you're fighting with your kids all the time, or you and your spouse aren't even connecting anymore. And you find that drink is the thing that makes a difference, or makes it, makes you feel okay. I can start calling out things like that. But I think kind of the combination of a little bit of education, a little bit of pain points, a little bit of, are you this person? And then also something that gives them hope.
Yeah. Yeah. So that giving them hope, that would be like giving that farmer's little girl the pony.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it like that.
Right. And now they're feeling hope, I this, my life can be different.
I could be there.
Yeah. And so the whole, I think, if you were to follow this prosperous coach process, Brandy, your marketing, the end goal here is for you to have the opportunity to have conversations with these people.
Right.
That's it. And give them experience where they can see hope. That's it in a nutshell.
It's funny. I read that book years ago, probably 7 or 8, and I haven't picked it up or anything since. I was in finance at the time, a long, long time ago. And it was helpful back then. And obviously, many, 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 many thousands of books since has been kind of left in the background. I will revisit that book.
Yeah.
I want to go to.
I'm reading it again for the 4th time. and if I could say, Rich Litvin has a podcast. I don't know if you do listen to Spotify, but they're also on YouTube, called One Insight.
I'll check that out.
And One Insight, and I just devour it. It fills me with full of confidence every day. It's great stuff. Yeah.
We're going to thank you, Mel. We're going to go to April. I want to ask her a pointed question here. So we answered number 1, what could she do? Go to social media. Number 2, what is she to invite, which is call out their pain points. Are you sick and tired of this thing in your life that you and I both know you're not hiding very well? No one else will know they're talking to them. So number 3, Brandy serve or invite them into some kind of call or demonstration of the pony's power or the pony's softness. So April, you are an I. What could Brandy do to creatively invite them into some type of call? What does that look like?
Well, first I have a question. This has been kind of bugging me for the last 10 minutes. So you're talking about group coaching, right?
A combination of, kind of hybrid.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out, because I can't get a feel for this. Is that where your passion is, or is that about money and income?
No, I think that there's, like I said, I think that there's a lot of power in a group
Okay.
setting, because it's like understanding that you're not alone in your struggles, in your journey, in where you're at. Oh, they've been there before and look where they
Right.
are. It's so helpful in the next steps that you have to take. So I think there's a lot of power in the group. That's really why I would do group.
Okay, so that's brilliant. So then what I would say is, because you are thinking and focusing on the video situation, right? And you are
Yeah.
showing up on like that in Facebook, correct? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I would throw it out like that, you know, like as in calling all people in a way, right? Who
Okay.
needs help and support in a group and community, right? Like
Yeah.
that. And then, and again, it also goes back to, you want this message consistent and regular, to where the 5th time they saw it, they're buying in. They've thought about it, they like it, they're interested, they keep hearing it, they're excited about it. And then at some point when you know that message comes through on your Facebook and in their feed over and over and over again, that's what they want to do.
Okay.
And I would put your energy into something a little bit more, like, honestly, I would decide which one you want to do more so that you can put most of your energy and passion into that and make it more powerful.
When you say more of that, do you mean like group, or do you mean like one-on-one?
Yes.
I feel like they need both. I feel
So-
like they need both. Like every standard, and this is the craziest thing about addictions. Addictions has a 13% success rate for clearing addictions. It's mind-boggling to me. And right now, nationally, we're at a 3%. That's horrible.
Yes.
It's horrible. And I don't
Yeah.
think that that's like acceptable in any way. And there's much better ways to do it. And if we're only in a group setting, I don't think that that's necessarily the best way, because it looks at it as a one-stop shop for solution. And it's not.
What I'm saying is that that's your marketing angle. And so you want to start there and go to the next thing, not have like, oh, I have this client that has nothing to do with the group.
Right, I never say that.
Here. Okay, so
Right. I've just said that to you guys.
Just so you know, I follow Kyle Cease, and he has a huge, humongous group, right? So he does this, he has a whole website where he has thousands and thousands of people go to his group thing, and he does 3 different live group things a week. They're about 2 hours each, and he does hot seats. He'll call in someone that he feels like, okay, I'm going to one-on-one for this entire 2 hours. It's amazing the progress that he can make in 2 hours with one person. Aside from that, he also allows one-on-one with the same group that's already involved in the group coaching. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have a question on that?
Sort of.
Can you visualize this?
Yes, but I'm like, does he promote it as you can have this? Is an additional layer? Is it like something extra?
Yes. So like,
so you sign up in the group and then this is something like the next level up kind of thing?
Yeah, well, it's what you pay for. So you pay the monthly fee to be in the group.
Yeah.
And then, or the annual fee, depending on what you want to do. And then inside of that, if you end up being lucky, and because there's a lot of people, right? You end up being lucky and you are on one of the hot seat situations, but yes, it is always, always, always available. And he always talks about, you can book a one-on-one with me, right?
Oh, interesting.
And that's maybe a side fee, but it's not an arm and a leg, you know? And then on top of that, what you have is there is a congruency of everyone's on the same page in the group. You know, they've heard the message, they get the pain points, they get the solutions, they get, right, they're part of it. There's an intimacy with this group, even though there's thousands of people, there's a very strong intimacy. Yeah. And then you then allow yourself, hey, if you want a one-on-one, bug me too, right? So that's what I would recommend. But inside of how you're trying to get clients, I would put 110% of your time into marketing, reaching people into the group. And yes, add in your marketing. And by the way, inside of this, you can have one-on-one as well.
Okay. And I know that there will be some, because again, we're dealing with people who are like C-suite executives. they're not gonna, some of them won't want to participate in a group at all because they won't want that level of vulnerability in
Right.
any way.
So,
at all.
so what that allows is they can be an observer in the group.
Okay. I like
And
that.
then they do the one-on-one with you.
Okay.
That's how that would go.
Okay.
Mel, you have a thought before
Yeah.
we move on to point 4?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, Brandy, your goal, if you were to follow this prosperous coach process,
Mhm.
is to have conversations with your target market.
Right.
That is the goal, right? And from there, give them the pony experience where they see the hope, and they're either, wow, they're either thanks very much, that was great, or
Mhm.
oh my goodness, can I have some more of this, please? And then you take it from there. That is the goal, though, to create a strategy, a process where you can be having conversations with these people, because nothing's, it's like, nothing happens without pipeline. This is your pipeline,
Okay.
right? You must have a pipeline.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, we got to move on to the last question. So how much money should Brandy be charging? Brandy, how much is it costing these people to have their addiction? Can you just answer that first? What is the average price it's costing them per month?
Okay. For my target market, they're like, I look at divorce as being the number one cost. Oh God, there's so many costs to that. Not even just divorce, but I just think even on divorce, that's 50% of what they own, right? So right now, my package is charged at 10,000. And I honestly think that might be too low to instigate or be the catalyst for them to actually do the deeper work. I'm questioning that right now.
What do they get for 10,000?
This is why I said it's kind of a hybrid. I want to do those one-on-ones. There's hypnosis involved with this because I need to get to root causes. I want to eradicate these things that are literally dragging them back into the addiction. So there's that. There's support. There's actual, like a whole huge program that goes along with this.
It's hard to quantify what you should be charging until you can clearly identify what's it costing your ideal. What's the
per month?
Point. Yeah, before you ever
Right.
decide what you're charging, you have to go, what is it costing them? Because then you work backwards and you go, well, I'll just charge like 10% of their pain and give
Right.
some kind of guarantee, and maybe their pain is $1 million.
Right. This is why I said, like, for some, and it depends how long they've been in it. And that's another reason why I want people who have been, who've already relapsed, gone back in, and had like, had rehab 2-3 times.
Yeah, they're sick of it.
Because now they honestly know they have a problem, right? They already recognize they have a problem. They want the help, but they're struggling to get what they actually need to get where they will clear the addiction completely. So they just keep falling back into it. So I want them. That's my sweet spot right there. I don't want the person who doesn't recognize they have an addiction. I don't want the person who's just starting their journey because they don't see the seriousness of this yet. I want the person who's been through this a few times and goes, oh my God, I don't get to see my kids, because I actually know one of those. I don't get to see my kids because of this.
Mm-hmm. And your program, do you have testimonials already? Do you have people that have done your program?
Not this one, no. This one's newer.
Okay. Can I interject here? So one of the easiest ways when I have a little, anyway, one of the, Mel, you could talk on this too, but one of the quickest ways to get up and running revenue wise is you get 2 or 3 testimonials of how you've done this for people. The training I took from Russell Brunson, these guys, you need someone now, unless you're gonna do some kind of early bird price, but you got to get early adopters to get to vet your process, even if your process isn't perfect. So I would suggest that's probably one of the places you need to start, is you need to take 2 or 3 people, find some people you could take through your process. And in the meantime, you're figuring out your process and all the systems and all the procedures in the process. You're getting testimonials, which obviously would live privately behind a paywall barrier or something, because these are, they have last names and videos and such. Anyway, I want to leave this open for you and Mel. April and Mel to chime in, but this is a really big key one here.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah, you must have some endorsements, and then if you're tweaking and sort of forming your program now, Brandy, as Amos said, you know, it is really key that you find some people that are going to give you some endorsements on this. Now, the truth of it is, like I coach some professionals who also have ADHD, you know, and most of them don't want people knowing that, you know, they don't want
That's
their
right.
boss knowing, hey, boss, I have ADHD. Some don't care,
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
right? Some do, you know, and your endorsements may not be willing to put their name, like my name's Paul Jones, and I was addicted, right? They're not going to do that, right? So
Right.
at the very least, you know, maybe they'll say, you know, PJ, give you their initial, and they'll give you their endorsement, right? So that's a challenging part probably for you. Most probably don't want to tag their name to their addiction. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, some won't even want to be a participant in a group because that's just too, like, people will know who I am.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, when I say there's shame attached to this, there is huge shame. And the vulnerability side is just so difficult to be able to be at.
You have helped some up to this point though, right? Can you go back to them and ask if they would be willing to give you an endorsement? You know, no name attached, because obviously the people that are going to be reading these endorsements, or the people that you're going to share these endorsements with, they're going to fully understand that Paul Jones didn't want to attach his name to this, right?
Okay.
But if you could go back and ask them, and what I have done for many people, it is, those people might even say, sure, Brandy, I'll give you an endorsement. And 4 months goes by and they still haven't done it yet, because it may be painful for them to write it.
Yeah.
Because I know this happens. You would say to Paul Jones, Mr. Paul, how about this? Would you be okay with me writing that endorsement for you?
Right.
I'll send it to you and you can
And
tweak
you
it.
tweak it. Yeah.
You tweak it so it feels right for you. Do you mind if I write it? So you write
I've had that happen with 2 people who've written before, who've written testimonials, where they're just like, and sometimes people just need prompts because they don't know exactly what to write in there, right?
No, they
So
don't.
I've had that happen. But it's really interesting because I always thought, like, testimonials, like, a lot of people look for testimonials on, like, Facebook endorsements, so it'll have, like, my face and my profile attached to that. There's no way in hell a lot of these people will ever do that. Like, no way in hell.
Yeah. But you certainly, you got to have a few. So I would just, you know, reach out to these people and get them. And again, ask them if it's okay if you write them for them and let them edit it.
I don't even think some of them would have a problem even writing it. It's just a question of, like I said, it's just the whole, like,
okay,
well, here's my name, here's my face. But I'll get whatever I can. And then how do I post those? Or where do I put them?
Okay, so now we're going into, like, how does a sales funnel live? So that's a whole separate marketing thing. But basically, you can always, at very least, Brandy, you could email. So someone just comfortable with, they write their verbiage. It's not even their first name. It's if it was my name, it's A and then ... There's no last name. Like, that solves that. But you have to be able to at least email these to people. What Mel's talking about in April as well, you have to demonstrate the pony.
Right.
You have to be able to bring the pony to the farmer. That's on all of us. We all have to proof of concept. It's proof of concept. We do have to wrap. But I want to let April go first. Would you like any closing thoughts? Well, I'll let all you guys speak at the end here. But
Mel did an excellent job with tying things together. All the points are excellent and perfect. I can't even think to add, except for that, do be aware that you are self-proclaiming that you're marketing to professionals. So in lieu of that, professionals have careers. They have money. They're already investing in their addictions because they have the money to do so. So why not you?
Thank you.
Mel, closing
Yeah, your Brandy, your brilliance and your prosperity is just over the hill. It's not
I know.
far. It's just, you're almost at the top of that hill. And clearly you do wonderful work, you know. Just remember that what you need to do is fill your day with conversations with the right people.
Yeah.
Right.
And you've said you can give them hope, right? And that's where everything begins. And just don't get too attached to whether they say yes or no. Just serve
Right.
powerfully. And at the end of that amazing conversation where you can tell if they're feeling moved, right?
I can.
You can, I know you're an intuitive person. You can tell, you're going to know when they're feeling moved, and you can just very sweetly, gently ask them, would you like some more of this? That's
I
it.
love that. That's such a nice way to ask. Would you
Yeah.
like more of this?
Yeah.
I actually have a lot of people go, how do I move forward?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. It's
Yeah.
just like an excellent waiter at a restaurant who asks, would you like some coffee at the end of your meal? It's the same
Yeah.
thing, because you are serving them. If you don't ask, if we don't do that, then we're not serving them. Would you like some more? Yeah, I'll end it there.
Brandy,
Fill your day with conversations.
Brandy, would you like any last closing comments? Did you want to words from Mel or April?
I just want to say thank you so much for giving me this time and for giving me your expertise. I will watch this video numerous times over and make sure that I draw everything out of it. This has been really helpful, and I have to admit, it was really hard to show up in all of my awesome messiness right now, because this has been like, I feel like I've been climbing a mountain, and I feel like I'm like this close to the top, but it's been very frustrating. So I'm very grateful for this time and your wisdom. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time and being super open. Means a lot.
Well, thank you, Brandy, for showing up and being vulnerable. Thank you, Mel and April, for contributing all of this. An hour and 10 minutes. We initially thought we'd have 2 or 3 business owners on. I had no idea what we're signing up for, but only Brandy signed up, and so this worked out perfectly.
Thank you.
This is exactly how, if we ever do this again, this is exactly, it would be an hour dedicated to one person. And Brandy, what you're seeing is April and Mel serve their asses off.
Yep.
Yep.
With joy.
With joy.
With joy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love you.
Oh, thank you so much, all of you.
If you've been watching this, you've been watching Apryl Mottley, Mel Kaario, and Brandy Taylor on the Empower Network, or if you're listening or on YouTube or the podcast, thank you for being in the group. If you're in the group, thanks for being an integral part of this. This group is a pretty fantastic place. Tomorrow we are 7 weeks old, and there is some amazing people that are in this group, and you're looking at 3 of them to my upper left, or however they're positioned. Thank you for being here. Together we can really change the world, and it's going to begin by empowering each other, which is what we've been doing today, and by being empowered, letting others empower us. So thank you, everyone, for being here, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Bye.
Bye.